Hello everyone, myself Parvahita, Assistant Professor of CSE Department from Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. I am here to explain a few concepts of the subject CS 8601 Mobile Computing. We are dealing with the Unit 2 here, that is Mobile Telecommunication System. The topic explained here is the handover. First, let us know the objective of learning this handover. Okay, so the objective is to learn about the handover taking place in the wireless networks. First, let us know about handover. The cellular systems require the handover procedures as single cells don't cover the whole service area. However, a handover should not cause any cut off or which is also called as a call drop. So the GSM aims to maximum handover duration of 60 milliseconds. So there are two basic reasons for this handover. One is the mobile station when it moves out of the range of the base station controller or the base transceiver station, it decreases the received signal level, increasing the error rate, thereby diminishing the quality of the radio link. So handover may also be caused due to the load balancing when an MSC, that is a mobile switching center or the base station controller, decides the traffic is too high in one cell, and so that it shifts some mobile station to other cells with a lower load. The four more possible handover scenarios of the GSM are shown in the following diagram. So this is the diagram which shows the four scenarios of the handovers. So first one is intra-cell handover. With reference could make that the transmission at a certain frequency is impossible. So the base station controller could then decide to change the carrier frequency in the scenario 1. Considering the intercell intra-BSC handover, that is the base station controller handover. So this is a typical handover scenario where the mobile station moves from one cell to another but stays within the control of the same base station controller. So this BSC then performs a handover and assigns a new radio channel in the new cell and releases the old one, which is shown in the scenario 2. So these are the first two scenarios which is explained as intra-cell handover and inter-cell intra-BSC handover. So now let us see the next one, that is the inter-BSC intra-MSC handover. As a base station controller only controls a limited number of cells, the GSM also has to perform the handovers between the cells controlled by different base station controllers. So this handover is then has to be controlled by the mobile switching center, which is shown in the scenario 3. Now, the last scenario, that is inter-MSC handover. A handover could be required between two cells belonging to different mobile switching centers. So now both the MSCs perform the handover together, which is shown in the scenario 4. To provide all the necessary information for a handover due to a weak link, the MS and the BTS both perform the periodic measurements of the downlink and the uplink quality respectively. The measurement reports are sent by the mobile station about every half second and contain the quality of the current link, which is used for the transmission, as well as the quality of certain channels in neighboring cells, that is also called as BCCH. So this is shown in the diagram which follows. So this is the handover decision depending on the receive level. Okay. So this more sophisticated handover mechanisms are needed for seamless handovers between different systems. So this is the intra MSC handover. So here we have the mobile station, transceiver station, base station controller, mobile switching station, etc. So next we are seeing about security. So the GSM offers several security services which uses the confidential information stored in the authentication center and in the individual SIM. The SIM stores personal secret data and is protected with a PIN against unauthorized use. The three algorithms have been specified to provide the security services in the GSM. So the algorithms are algorithm A3, algorithm A5, and algorithm A8. So this A3 algorithm is used for authentication, A5 is used for encryption, and A8 for the generation of cipher key. So the various security services offered by the GSM are: first one is the access control and authentication. The first step includes the authentication of a valid user for the SIM. So the user needs a secret PIN to access the SIM, and the next step is the subscriber authentication. So this step is based on the challenge response scheme as shown. So the authentication is based on the authentication key, that is KI, the user identification IMSI, and the algorithm which is used for authentication A3. The authentication AUC performs the basic generation of random values which is called as RAND, signed responses which is called as SRES, and the cipher keys KC for each IMSI, that is the user identification, and then forwards this information to the home location register. The current visitor location register requests the appropriate values for the RAND, SRES, and the KC from the home location register. For authentication, the VLO sends the random value to the SIM. Both sides, the network and the subscriber module, performs the same operation with the RAND and the key KI, which is called A3. Okay. So the mobile station then sends back the SRES and generated by the SIM. The visitor location register can now compare both these values. So if they are same, the visitor location register accepts the subscriber, otherwise the subscriber is rejected as unauthorized user. Okay, so this is a subscriber authentication diagram. So what we have explained here, so this is a key value KI, RAND is the random number, and the authentication here it happens, then mobile switching center, it forwards to the mobile switching center. So coming to the confidentiality, so all users related data is encrypted. So after authentication, the base transceiver station and the mobile station apply the encryption to voice, data, and signaling, which is shown in the following diagram. Okay, so similar diagram which is shown in the security. To ensure the privacy, all the messages containing the user related informations are encrypted in the GSM over the air interface. After authentication, the mobile station and the BSS can start using the encryption by applying the ciphering key KC, which is generated using the individual key KI, and a random value by applying the algorithm A8. Note that the SIM in the mobile station and the network both can calculate the same KC based on the random value RAND. The KC key itself is not transmitted over the air interface. The mobile station and the base transceiver station can now encrypt and decrypt the data using the algorithm A5 and the cipher key, which is known as KC. Coming to anonymity. To provide user anonymity, all the data is encrypted before transmission and the user identifiers are not used over the air. Instead, the GSM transmits a temporary identifier which is called as TMSI, which is newly assigned to the visitor location register after each location update. Additionally, the VLR can change the TMSI at any time. To enhance the data transmission capabilities of GSM, two basic approaches are possible. As the basic GSM is based on the connection oriented traffic channels, example with the 9.6 kilobits per second, each several channels could be combined to increase the bandwidth. So this system is called the high speed circuit switch data. So a more progressive step in the introduction of packet oriented traffic in GSM is that shifting the paradigm from connections or the telephone thinking to packets or internet thinking. So the system is called as GPRS, that is General Packet Radio Service. Okay. So next we are moving to HSCD, that is high speed circuit switch data. A straightforward improvement of the GSM data transmission capabilities is the high speed circuit switch data, in which the higher data rates are achieved by bundling several TCHs, and in an mobile station which requires one or more TCHs from the GSM network, that is, it allocates several time division multiple access slots within a TDMA frame. This allocates several TDMA slots within a frame. Okay, so this allocation can be asymmetrical also. That is, more slots can be allotted on the downlink than on the uplink, which fits the typical user behavior of downloading more data compared to the uploading. A major disadvantage of this HSCD is that it still uses the connection oriented mechanisms of the GSM, which is not efficient for the computer data traffic in recent times. Okay, so these are the questions which could be asked related to this topic. Thank you.